Yeah, so clearly you know why I'm excited, because I'm probably the biggest kid in this place right now. So I'm also going to be paying attention to this. And of course, getting out a bunch of brushes, paint, water or dirt to play with our kids sounds like fun, or maybe adults too, in theory. But the thought of a cleanup process can put some parents off. I know it definitely will for me. Now, today, we're encouraging parents to engage in messy play with our children and to share more about the importance of doing this. Now, Kinderkineticist and owner of CPL Kinderkinetics, Lacey, is here to tell us more. Catherine, how are you doing this morning?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited because obviously, like you heard, I'm going to be paying attention to this too. So yeah, feed us with all this. Yeah. I'm so excited to hear more.
I love that we're speaking about the fact that we should be encouraging this, because I think really with messy play, you're allowing the kids to just expand on getting creative. They get to use their hands, they get to feel around, and they're not just in a box. But is there a right way in introducing messy play to our kids?
I think when it comes to introducing it to your child, it's good to tell them why you're going to be doing what they're doing, and also maybe just to set boundaries. As you say, messy play is messy, so you don't want them to start finger painting the walls in your house, for example. So set out, and you said clean up as well.
Yes.
The easiest thing is to set out a designated area on the ground or do it outside where the mess doesn't really matter. But other than that, I would say there's really no right or wrong way to encourage messy play. You can do anything with them. There's no boundaries. That's the great thing about it. There's no set rules that they need to follow. There's no end to the messy play. It's just, it is what it is. It just lets the kids create and explain and, you know, their imagination, everything like that.
Do we as parents just let them be, or do we kind of guide them with their messy play? Obviously, you said no boundaries, but at what point do we actually step in and be like, you know what, actually, let me guide you a little bit, because we obviously want them to have the freedom of creating the mess that they want, but at what point do we step in and be like, actually, let me guide you a little?
You're looking for constructive mess.
Hone it in. I think with that, it depends what your goal is for what you want to get out of your children with the messy play. But honestly, the best thing for them is to just let them be. The only time I would step in is if there's maybe a safety issue, if you have a baby that's about to put something in their mouth. But other than that, I would really just encourage messy play, let the kids be, get down with them, play with them. That's the easiest way. They learn so much through their own imagination, and it allows there's endless possibilities to what they can do, which is the whole idea behind messy play and why you want to encourage it so much.
I like the idea of it. It's almost like you're giving this kid, or your kid, a canvas just to express themselves in whichever way they feel is fit for them, and you're not really kind of telling them what to do and putting them in that box. So I love that concept, but is it as easy as you say? Because it sounds like it's just like, oh, well, just get a piece of space and let's just do this thing. But maybe you can tell me an example of how exactly we could demonstrate sensory play and this type of engagement, so to speak.
It is easier than you think. One of the easiest ways to do messy play is with water. You know, water, using natural elements, just give them a bucket of water, maybe throw some kitchen utensils in it, like a measuring cup and a soup spoon, and just see what they do with that. Another way is to use sand and send them outside to use the garden, use the elements in the garden. That's all creating different sensory experiences. If you want to get more advanced, you can start including things like paint and Play-Doh and, you know, things that you would maybe need to buy or make. But it's easier than you think. You can use almost anything that you have readily available in your house. You have rice, you can use pasta, you can use chickpeas, you can use bottle tops. You can really get creative with it.
I'm thinking, could you use like a mop and a dustpan and a broom?
Yes.
This is exactly why you don't have kids. This is exactly why you don't have kids.
Be smart about this. This could work.
You can buy baby brooms that are about this big. Let's get them to
You spoke about babies as well. So at what age should we be introducing this to our kids? Because obviously you don't want to just put water in front of a newborn baby. You want to put a paint or a broom, in this case, in front of your baby. So at what age should we be introducing sensory play and messy play?
You can incorporate it quite young. As soon as your baby, if they're doing something like tummy time and you do want to think about incorporating messy play, you can use water. So a way to do that, you would use maybe a baking tray and a very shallow amount of water, and then just let them splash it. Just put it in front of them. It also encourages the lifting of the arms. It encourages arm development. It's fine motor skills. It's a basic way to incorporate it. So quite young.
I'm loving this conversation. And of course, Mzansi, don't worry because it's going to continue. Catherine Lacey has more tips for us on the importance of messy and creative play, so do not go anywhere.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, Mzansi, and we are, of course, back with our Kinderkineticist and owner of CPL Kinderkinetics, Catherine Lacey, as she shares more with us about engaging activities in creative and messy play with our children, and maybe me too. We're going to put this to the test, of course, but we were having such an incredible conversation earlier about this. Jamie just touched on the age and the appropriate ages that we were probably going to advise in terms of when it was to play with kids, which I absolutely love.
Yep.
But I want to really put the proof in the pudding here and see exactly what it is that we can do with kids. You mentioned there aren't any rules, and that got my that got me listening a bit more. Like, no rules, absolute freedom. This sounds amazing. But maybe we can put some more structure to this. So I see you've got a box of goodies over there. What exactly is going on? What is this?
It was just some ideas, some things that parents can do at home, maybe using home items, things that they have readily available. And then also just to show the differences between what you can do with different ages. So maybe with a baby, like you mentioned, it's a bit more tricky to do things with them.
Yeah.
Whereas with an older child, you can maybe turn sensory play even into a learning experience.
Okay. Now, my other concern is also I see some small objects here, and I know kids love to
Yes.
put things in their mouth and eat them and chew them. So I would imagine certain elements here are age appropriate too.
Yes.
Can you take us through some of that?
What I usually do with the babies, the easiest way to avoid the mouth situation is to just put it in packets. So this is a great sensory experience, is to have something like rice.
How did you get the rice that color, by the way?
And I dyed it with food coloring. So that's the other thing, is to incorporate different colors. You can get extremely vibrant colors of rice. You can dye pasta, you can cook spaghetti, make spaghetti, different colors. So for babies, I like to keep stuff in the packets, then they avoid the
Chewing their in their mouth.
I got you.
So that's the easiest way to do it for the youngest kids.
Yeah.
And then as they get a bit older, you can do something similar to this.
Well,
So
That's
this
next
is a-
level. You're giving us so much ideas.
This is a household item that you can find, in your kitchen. I took mine out of my kitchen. And you can just get them to either poke it out, they can pull it out, they can put it back in. You just can put it in front of them and let them explore the objects that they have. Another way is you can put a ribbon in here, you can get creative. You can really, just fill this with anything. And more than likely, as soon as they touch this to their mouth, they're not going to like the texture.
because of that
They'll put it back
Fluffy, and then
That's
put
fine.
it back in. So that's a good way.
Lucas, swallow that?
Probably. You'll tell me all the colours. You're like, Mom, there's yellow, there's green, there's blue. Is there a cut-off stage for when we should not be encouraging and kind of put more boundaries in that? Please, maybe we should start putting boundaries around here.
There's definitely no cut-off age. As you mentioned, you like to do messy play as well. I know for me, when I'm doing things with the kids, I love to get involved with them.
Oh, yeah.
So actually do the activities that I plan with them because, it's fun and
So
it's
it doesn't
engaging.
have to be just like a send the kid off and then I'm going to go do my
No,
work.
not at all.
You can actually engage and actually build on your relationship with your
You can
child
build,
as well, right?
it's great for, communication development and language development. It's got that social aspect when they do it with their friends. There's so many ways behind how you can utilize it. And then, as I mentioned, with older kids, you can use it as a boundary or as a learning tool. So this is also a household kitchen item.
Yeah.
I've just drawn numbers and letters on it.
Yeah.
And then you can take something like a water bottle with a spray bottle. It's encouraging the fine motor development. It's encouraging letter, number recognition. And then they just spray the colors as they go.
Okay.
You can also do that on a much larger surface. You can draw on the driveway with chalk. And then they spray it with the
We're also speaking
outside.
just how important this is because these days, kids are literally glued to their
Yeah,
phones.
they
They're
don't do
sitting with
this
social media.
anymore.
They don't do this anymore. But this encourages just having that communication with your kids, interaction. You said the fine motor skills as well. Why would you encourage parents, again, just to incorporate this into their kids' sensory and child's play?
It's so important because it creates a whole bunch of different sensory experiences, which is so important for your child to develop. It's often the reason why children don't like certain textures of food, they don't like certain items of clothing, and that often comes from not being exposed to multiple different sensory experiences. So that development from that aspect is one of the easiest ways to incorporate that into your child's, every single day. And if you can't do it every day, 1 to 2 times a week, maybe on the weekends, get creative.
I love this. This is
I do.
golden news. I hope every single parent out there right now has been listening and paying a lot of attention, because I think your kids are desperate. They need this. They want this. It's the best gift you could give them. So messy play is integral in the development of our children's physical, verbal, cognitive, social, and emotional skills. Now, there are endless benefits. So parents, let's get down and dirty.